Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome into 6 p.m. in Lincoln with former Nebraska linebacker Chris Kolarevic.
Intercepted. Ball game over. Picked off by Chris Kolarevic.
This is 6 p.m. in Lincoln with Chris Kolarevic. Sponsored by the Teammates Mentoring Program. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are we on right now? Okay, there we go. The mic's working. All right, it's 6 p.m. in Lincoln. We've got the legendary Chris Slatt in studio. He's a little nervous today. He's hesitant to come on the radio, but I pushed him to get on here because I know the people need to hear him. So, Chris Slatt is a former Nebraska track coach, and now runs his own training facility where he trains guys, and that's where I met him. I used to train with him when I was playing in Lincoln, and we're happy to have you on the show.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I'm not as nervous as I was with Brew last year.
The second time, you popped your cherry already.
Yeah,
you're already here.
Did. Bro, I was about to have a heart attack. I was tugging my pants. Like, I didn't know what I was doing.
So we got Chris Slatt, we got Jake, the producer, and we got Brehan, my intern, and we got a full house in studio today, and I'm excited to talk all kinds of things. First of all, how's life been lately? What have you been up to? I know you've been training a lot of guys for Pro Day. That Pro Day just went really well. I saw it. Just talk to me about how life and where you're at.
Life's great, man. It's just it's crazy. The winter time's nuts because you have, you're getting ready for your spring sports. Your athletes are doing indoor track, and then the Pro Day guys. So it's just been kind of a whirlwind, and Tuesday we had a great day, and then you get to your car and you're just like, oh, and then you just let it rest, and then next thing you know, you have the next wave of people calling you, and on top of the kids that you're training. But yeah, life's great, man. I mean,
that's fantastic to hear. That's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah,
I gotta move this mic over. So just train Pro Day. How do you see? Talking about this Pro Day training, how was that?
With Bullock, it was different than anything ever because he came off the season so beat up.
Yeah.
Right. But what helped us was we got extra 4 weeks just with the way the things set up with the college playoffs and the national championship game. So we're able to take a step back and get him get him the right treatment, get him taken care of. And, but it was wild because after the season, I mean, the dude couldn't even move his neck.
Mm-hmm.
He was shoulders.
He was playing linebacker Iowa. In the Big Ten.
Oh, dude, yeah. In Iowa, he got a bad stinger and all this stuff. But yeah, it worked out really good for him. And then
completely healthy, ready to go play in the NFL.
Oh yeah, he's ready to go.
Yeah,
he tested awesome.
That dude can ball.
He's in great shape, man. He's 225. I got more body fat on my thumb than he's got on his body right now. And he tested well and he's ready to go. And Gift killed it, and Fedoni killed it, and all the other guys killed it. It was a great day for Husker football.
Great day. I saw it.
And seeing what these guys did in testing, it shows what our program is training to, right? With Coach Campbell and Coach Rule and everything. I mean, shit, I think, Polar Bear ran 5 flat. I mean, that's moving, right?
I think he was a little bit I feel for him because I think he should have gotten a combine.
Oh, yeah.
So he kind of had to go out there and do his thing.
Yeah, and I think if he didn't have that medial MCL sprain on his knee, is he really went from being a guy that could go both ways, the bull rush, let Ty run a little bit free, but you don't know what these guys are going through during the season, man.
No
idea. Guys, and you've done it. I've done it. I mean, I set my PR with a sports hernia. Didn't know what it was. It was supposed to be a groin, but it wasn't. It was misdiagnosed. So you don't know what these guys are going through, but Nash he's going to play a long time on Sundays.
Agreed.
Yeah, great.
You don't wrestle heavyweight and play football at the same time if you're not a professional athlete.
No, and just his love of sport. He's such a great teammate and guy. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I would say 100% our program is trending real fast.
Completely agree. Everybody you talk to says the same thing.
Yeah.
Completely agree. So speaking of your long jumping, talk to me about young Chris Slatt.
Yeah, young Chris Slatt was a knucklehead, man. I thought I had the world by my palm of my hands, and then each level that I kind of went up and jumped, I kind of figured out oh boy, like there's these dudes better than me, right?
Mhm.
But like I said on Bruce show, always wanted to coach, always want to be Division 1 track coach or Olympic coach or whatever that took. So once I got to that level and knew that, like, all right, well, this is where I'm at. This is where Bashir or Travell or Dwight was at. Then I was like, all right, it's time for me to learn so I can come back and my goal is to coach at the Olympics, right? Was to compete. Now mine's to coach, and I've been blessed to coach at you know Big Tens, USA's, World Championships, but I never coached the Olympics. And I
Mm.
think that'd be like the greatest thing ever.
Who do you of the guys you're training, is there anybody that has a shot?
Well,
I mean,
obviously,
Kobe. I
obviously
was gonna say
Kobe.
Kobe. If Kobe goes, you have to go, right?
Well, no, I don't.
What?
That Caleb goes.
Yeah, but both of you could go.
No, you only get one coach.
You only get one coach?
Yeah, but I'll sit
Oh,
in the
that's kinda weak.
stands. No.
But you could at least go and, like, go to the
Oh
sit in
yeah,
the stands. You
yeah,
have
yeah,
to.
yeah. But dude, I'm telling you, right now I got a really amazing group of young jumpers. On the female side, they all are extremely talented now. They at that level, it just sees how the maturation and how things go for them.
Yeah.
But man, talented. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out.
So, I'm curious just personally. So, I'm starting my first coaching job on Monday.
Yes. Yeah,
I just made that decision. I haven't talked about it publicly because I was still figuring out and sorting through things.
It was a great decision.
But I'm beyond excited to go do this. I think this has always been my calling, and I've been pulled in different directions in my life, and kind of sorting through what I wanted to do and what I wanted to pursue as a human. And I know that this is my calling as a person, is to go be a coach. So I just took my first coaching job doing DBs at Iowa Western. We're starting spring ball this week.
Yep. Tuesday. Yep.
So I'm curious your thought process going from being an athlete to being a coach, and then that transition from being an athlete to being a coach, and like those first couple of years and how that was, and maybe some roadblocks or maybe some challenges that came up, maybe some advice.
So my advice to you is build your own blueprint. Okay. So you've probably had really bad coaches. You've probably had pretty good coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You probably had really good coaches. You have great coaches. Okay. So what you do is you take those bottom three and you build off of that.
Mm-hmm.
How that really bad coach make you feel? Like what was missing in his protocol to get you to what you need to do? And then the next coach, the great coach, you don't really mess with that. You just try to make them proud and build off of those bottom half things. But really coaching it's not simple, but if you are accountable and credible and fair, then you have a great chance of winning the room that you're in, okay? Or the event that you're in, all right? And then from there, you build a relationship in a very professional way, all right? You want your athletes to respect you, not like you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the coaches I've had that were great coaches, I didn't really like them, but I respected them. And then they
That's
took me to the next level.
That's
right?
a really good point. So I have this vision in my head. I had one coach at one school he was really, I wouldn't say he wasn't liked by people, but he was hard on people. Hard on people.
Yes. Tough love, man.
So much tough love, to the point where most people in the building would not want to be his friend.
Right.
And it was just hard on people. Even his own coaches was hard on people. Yeah. But you look at his track record and you see the amount of coaches that came out of his building,
right,
and the amount of players that went to the NFL, and it's undeniable the humans that he made that came out of that program.
Yeah, and those guys that made it out of his program are calling him when they need the tough shit.
Right.
The tough stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, man, you can be buddies with everybody, but that doesn't move the needle.
It's hard to take that role, I think.
I think
it's hard to take that role because you have to be very internally driven.
Right.
And you can't need validation from people around you. You have to know that you're coaching the right thing. Right. And you have to know that what you're telling your players is the right thing. And you can't second guess yourself. And you have to be hard on people because they need it. Like, people need somebody to be hard on them a lot of times.
Yeah.
Whereas I compare that at times to other coaches that I've had, or single people that I won't name.
Right.
Where they were more people that wanted to be liked,
but
didn't necessarily get the best out of their players. So it's kind of a fine line where you don't want to be hated by everybody, but there has to be this. You have to be a a catalyst for people
Right.
and the catalyst for their growth. And a lot of times, the only way people grow is if they need that tough love and let somebody to let them know that, hey, you need to get your together.
Yeah. And I've always lived off the 3-to-1. Right. So 3-to-1 is when you're working with an athlete, you take the one thing that they're doing wrong at practice. And you're like, all right, Kolarevic, you're not getting a good drop and your eyes are out of position. Okay. But the 3 plays before, you had a run fit, you had a good displacement here, you swam, made him drop the ball over the top of your head where we got a pick, whatever. So when you're ripping somebody, right, then you come back with 3 positives. And definitely with this
3-to-1. Interesting.
how do you say it without being just the way that sports evolved. Okay.
The way the kids have evolved.
Right. The kids
Yeah.
evolved. And here's the deal. Like, it's like LeBron saying that Giannis would score 700 points, right? And Giannis came back and said, bro, it's generational, right? Things are going to change and people are going to grow and things are going to be different.
Yeah, things
right?
grow and things develop and things get better. Like,
Right.
things
You
get better with time.
Right? Oh my gosh, the athletes are so high level now, right?
And high high emotionally
Intelligence, right.
and intellectually, they're different. They're just more aware.
Right. So that's where that 3-to-1 comes.
Yeah.
Right. So, rip them for what they did wrong, but tell them the 3 things they did right. And sometimes it might not be 3, it might be 2, right? It might be one-on-one, one-on-one. Like, bro, you
Yeah.
did this and you
Depending on
missed
the
this.
kid, adjust based on
Right.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, and it's on you, like what you want to do, but get them to buy into what you're doing.
Yeah.
But get them to buy in for the right reasons.
I feel like it's got to be real.
Hell yeah.
It's got to be. You have to be real, and I think kids nowadays are even better at sniffing out what's real and what's
Yeah,
not.
because they have the world by the palm of their hand.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Because back in the day, if you think about it, when a kid would go to a program and he had a coach, that was really the authority voice in his head, and that was
That's
the
the
only
only
authority voice in his
Only
head.
voice.
Now
right.
he can call his dad, he can call his high school coach because he's got his phone.
Yeah.
He can go on social media and he can look at all these people talking about this is how you should live your life, this is how you should do things. He's got a lot of authority voices in his head.
Right.
So it's not just you.
Right.
So I think because of that, it makes coaching harder probably.
I don't think it does, man. I think it
Okay.
makes it better because now coaches can literally be themselves.
Mhm.
You don't have to live by the strict rules of
Yeah, you don't have to be this.
Lombardi.
Right.
You can, but then you also walk that fine line.
Yeah.
And the one thing with me is I always felt like I need to have a great relationship with my athletes to get them to the next level. But now I'm learning that no, not necessarily. You can still have a relationship with them, but you don't have a great personal relationship. You can still move the needle
Yeah.
for them to be good or great or whatever.
Yeah, they just need to
looks for you.
respect and listen to what you have to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just grow every situation, every win or loss or win with your athletes. You just keep growing and developing, and that makes a great coach. If you stop growing, you stop learning, it'll pass you by.
Yeah.
Right.
Because things changes so fast.
Changes so fast, and then have a rhyme and a reason, and if you have a rhyme and a reason why you're doing something, kids will buy in faster. But if they ask you a question, that's the one thing that these kids will do now. They'll ask you a question. If you can't answer that, you're like, well, you lose credibility.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to always keep learning, always keep getting better, and putting yourself not necessarily in the athlete's position, but in their position. So if you're junior college kids, excuse me, you're gonna have your kids that are there because they're trying to go to the next level, but they're slow developers, they're not ready to go. Then you got the guys like me that were at junior college that we didn't have the grades, right? So you push those guys a little bit different than you push these guys,
Mhm.
right? But at the end of the day, you got to push them evenly, right?
Yeah.
So that's just where you're gonna grow. But at the end of the
There's gonna be
day,
a lot of learning.
right? Sorry. At the end of the day, when you've done it, you played it, you have that instant accountability, but you just got to keep growing.
You gotta find that common motivator
Yes.
That common
yes.
motivator.
because everybody comes from different places. So therefore, you got to find a way to everyone get on the same track and we can all succeed as one.
I like that.
And I tell you what, being a track guy, one thing that I always get jealous about working with football guys is, track was so individual.
Yeah.
It's just me,
Very much so.
right? And then Coach Powell, who's my coach, if we didn't jump well, it's pretty much on me. He's one of the best ever, right? But football, training the football guys is so cool because you got Brew, you got you got Grant Buddha, Ashton Hausman,
Yep.
D Branch. Like you got all these guys that come from different scenarios and different tax brackets. And then they all come together, right, for this common cause to win a football
It's
game.
a beautiful game.
Yeah.
It's what drew me to it because I was actually an individual sport kid growing up.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah,
skier. I was a skier.
skier.
Yeah, I was a skier.
Skier.
And then
Skier.
skier.
That's where you guys little cast from.
That makes sense.
You remember you got mad at me. Yeah. I'll tell you this story in a second. But yeah, go ahead, go.
Yeah, I made that decision middle of high school that I was gonna go all in on football and try to make it happen. And a big part of that was I just loved the aspect of being with the guys and being able to motivate the people around me and they motivate me. And just I love that team part of things. And the individual sport was cool, but there's something different about football and the way it all comes together. And you just learn so much about life. To me, you just learn a lot about life with having these people from different backgrounds, and you learn from you got when would I ever have met? I'm from Traverse City, Michigan. When would I ever have met Caleb Tanner?
Yeah,
if I didn't play
Atlanta,
football.
Georgia.
From Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
When would I ever have met a Caleb Tanner?
He got his own language.
Right. He literally has his own language.
Yeah.
He invented it.
And that's the thing, like, and not to go into politics or whatever, but if we could ever get our world to be like a locker room, bro, it'd be amazing.
Common goal.
Common goal.
That's it.
I
think that's a big thing is a common goal. I'm glad you brought that up actually, because I think, hell yeah.
Good job, intern.
I'm trying my best.
You get it. You get a +1 tonight.
I get more talking time than I ever had.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Having that common goal is crucial.
Yeah.
Especially because with a position group, I think one of the most challenging things about coaching a position group is the biggest competitors are each other. They're trying to compete for these limited spots, and there's a dozen guys that are competing for 3 spots, and they're all competing for these spots that they all really want, and they're competing against each other, but they all have to be able to work together and help each other in film and help build each other up. So it's one of those things I think running a position group, that's challenging.
And then running a position group, if you can work bottom to top, so you obviously got your top guys, right?
Yeah.
So near there, it was Reimer, Nick, and you, right? Mm-hmm. Then you had your bottom guys. So what you do with your bottom guys to keep them engaged and keep them wanting to progress to be you, Nick, and Luke is special teams, right? Moving the needle in practice to get them better, because there's going to be a time where now you need that next group to get you ready, better. So it's just daily
actually watching their film, making comments on the film, saying, "Hey, we could even if on a scout team, still watching there."
Right.
Because I remember I did 1 year scout team my first year.
Yeah.
And I remember my coach still going and watching some of the film with me, and that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Of just working on my technique.
Right. And you just said the key word. Your coach came down and watched the film with you.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be one of those coaches that will only call in when they need you. Make sure you prepare them. Because football is violent. So you might lose 3 mics in one game.
You might.
And this kid's not ready because and all of a sudden, So, like I said, you have your top, but you always work bottom to top.
Yeah, if you're bringing a kid into your room, it's kind of your responsibility to
100%
bring him along, to give him you're bringing him in with the intention of, I have to give this person my time and my energy and bring him along.
Right, and develop him, and you hear all the stories about guys that go backup quarterbacks, the great ones, they're prepared, the guys that go in the game and the bed because they're not prepared, right? So, but that starts with the coach. And, we look at these 16 or 15, 16, 17-year-old kids like they should know what they're doing. They have no clue.
No idea.
So you're teaching the technique, you're teaching the quarters or whatever but really you need to come back and teach them how to become professional, how to become what they need to be. And you always hear these coaches, Kolarevic didn't know what he was doing today. Well, why didn't he? It's your job, And I saw this reel. Is it a reel? It's like when you're on your phone and it pops up. Yeah. And Mike Tomlin said that it discussed some coaches that don't want to coach. Coaching is everything, from the jog to the warm up to the sprint drills to the technique to whatever. It's all encompassing. And then you have the conversations to get them right mentally for what they're progressing themselves to do. Right. First high school track meet. I remember that back in the day. I was shivering in my knees, man. And I
You
was
can kind of put them you can kind of put yourself in their shoes.
right, and I was blessed to have a really good coach, Tom Bulow, who prepared me for that, right? And I was way more prepared than you because you never got that, right? So coaching isn't here; it's bottom to top, not top, right? So that's my biggest advice to you:
That's a
be
good point.
accountable to everybody in your room, man.
Every single person.
Right? Every
Yeah.
single person, and you're gonna
It
have some.
really is. That was this past year I spent away from the game, and I
And you appreciate it more now.
I appreciate it a lot more
Yeah.
now, and I had to do a little bit of soul searching of. I had a lot of injuries. Time in Nebraska was hard with coaching turnover. Had to go to Canada, cut from the Bears. Like it was all these. I was burnt out. I was tired of the game, and I spent the last year kind of doing some soul searching. Like, what do I want to do? And I always in the back of my mind, it was like, okay, what if I went and coach? Like that feels like what I should do. I just knew how much of an investment it would be. I
Yeah.
knew it would be if I'm going to coach, it's going to be my entire life.
Everything.
It's going to be literally, I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it while I'm eating lunch, and I'm going to think about it when I go to sleep. And it's going to be an all day, every day thing. And it was kind of a conversation with myself, looking myself in the mirror and being like, am I ready for that? Am I ready for that type of commitment? Because I don't want to do it in a way that would be disrespectful to my athletes and to the game and not be fully focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because it does come with a lot of sacrifice in personal life, in family time, in everything.
Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of like I was going, and I got to the point where I decided I don't see myself doing my life any other way.
Yeah. Same thing. I mean, good example. Friday night, I got invited to go, go out, do all this fun stuff, and I was like, oh, I got sessions in the morning on Saturday. You just
Yeah, because you're not going to be as focused. You're
you're
not going to be as
focused, and kids aren't stupid, man.
they're not.
Like they know when Coach Slat shows up and he's
Mhm.
a click or two off of
They
what
can
he's
tell.
supposed to be,
They
right?
can tell.
You know that you train with me, like
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
that was the hardest part of this job I was working this past year, where I felt like I didn't have to be focused. I felt
yeah,
like I could show up and kind of half-ass it, and it would be kind of accepted, and there wouldn't be a problem. So
right.
I didn't have that need to perform, and I need that need to perform.
Yeah, that once again it goes back to accountability, and credibility. So yeah, no, coaching is it's the greatest job in the world. Um, it's extremely stressful. It's extremely gratifying. You know, but at the end of the day, if you truly love it and you want these young athletes to always tell everybody, I don't want everybody to go through what I went through, right?
100%.
So you put them in a position not to go through that, but
Yeah.
you have to make them earn it. You have to make them earn it, and you can't give them anything. Kobe was here for the last month and a half, and I made that dude earn every ounce of what he was doing here, right?
Yeah.
China didn't go as well as we wanted as planned, but once again, it's a building block. Dude's never flew 30 hours on a plane, never went through what he went through. Had an amazing block start in the prelims in that first fall start, and they had two more fall starts, and then had to come back 7 hours later, couldn't get his legs back. So, from the outside looking in, everybody's like, oh, that's a failure. No, it's not. That young man finished 17th in the world. And I don't know very many athletes that go to their first world championships or their first Olympics unless they're Ala Felix or Carl Lewis, or Sydney, right? Those are, those are precursors, right?
Yeah.
But now he knows how to handle that travel, how to handle that.
That's
And
definitely takes a learning experience.
yeah, and most athletes, and Grace Upshaw was my training partner when I was out in LA. And Grace said her goal was to make the Olympics. She made the Olympics and she got to the Olympics and she didn't know what to do after that. And I'm like scratching my head like, bro, what are you talking about? You're at the Olympics, go jump. Right. But then we talked about it more. And then now witnessing with Kobe, like he made his first international team and he got there and he was like, oh, it's really cool. Right.
Mhm.
So Grace said her next goal was to make the next Olympic team, but not celebrate making the team, but win a medal. And Grace made the finals, and I think she was centimeters out of making a medal, right?
Mm.
So it's just a growing experience,
Yeah.
And what separates track from team sports is you have teammates to rely on, right? Oh, Clark, you got this, man. track and
If
field.
you're having an off day,
You get on that plane by yourself. You fly across the world by yourself. You get off that plane by yourself. You go to Team USA check-in. Kobe was blessed that his agent Jeff was there to be there with him, but Jeff can't control everything because he doesn't have access to Team USA stuff. So Kobe's like learning all this stuff by himself, and those other sprinters that are there, they're trying to get a medal. So they're not really trying to help him, right? They're not going to say, "Oh, the bathroom's over there." No, they're going to tell you the bathroom's way over there, right? I'm kidding. They don't do that, but or maybe they do. But it's a different, process.
It's completely different.
Right. And he learned a lot. And the crazy thing about it is our goal with him, obviously Caleb and I kind of worked together on this process is World Championships indoors was not on the plate. We wanted to run fast indoors, get ready for outdoors, go to Europe, make some money, come back, get in the relay pool, possibly make the team in the World Championships 100. So he checked 2 boxes that weren't even supposed to be checked. So that tells you multiple things, that the training is working, he's growing as an athlete, and he's ready.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's an interesting one too because he's a little bit of a late bloomer.
Yeah.
He didn't even get a scholarship out of high school.
He wasn't even offered a position at SDSU until Coach E saw him in the bookstore.
He wasn't running his best times until after college.
Well, he started sniffing a little bit in college.
Okay.
He ran I think 10:37, a little bit over the allowable, ran 20:94. But Caleb saw this young man, and Caleb used to send me videos of him. I was like, yeah, he's got the gift.
Yeah.
He just,
rare.
needs to be developed a little bit. And, and one of the toughest parts of, college sports is, you got 10 sprinters, right? And you have to find a training protocol for all those sprinters. And Coach Eric does a great job. Hoodie won the 60, Burrell, unbelievable in the hurdles. Like SDSU has a really good sprint program, not as good as the Coyotes. All right, go Yotes. But SDSU is doing pretty good on their side.
Do they have that? Do they have an indoor?
Yeah,
They run in that little.
They have the 300-meter indoor.
They have the indoor.
Yeah. So they got a nice indoor facility. Not as nice as USD's, but they got.
Mm-hmm.
So
because USD's is in the dome.
Yeah, we're in the Dakota Dome.
Yep.
Yeah. So
similar to that UNI dome.
Yes.
Similar.
Very
it's a similar type dome.
Yeah.
UNI's a little bigger though. After that.
But yeah, so it's just tough, But the good thing is, Kobe kept pursuing it, and he's been living in that basement for 4 years.
Yeah.
And finally made a team. And
it takes a lot. It takes so much commitment. It takes so much commitment.
A ton of commitment, a ton of sacrifice on yourself, because you don't get to do what you want to do.
Nope.
Like
you don't.
I've never seen somebody so excited to have enough money to buy windshield wipers for their car. And that was Kobe.
No, I feel that.
Like he finally was like, "Oh, I can buy this from upgrade my windshield wipers," and you don't think about that.
No, you don't.
But finally,
when you're in that, and you have that mission, and you have that goal, the last thing you're thinking about is windshield wipers.
No, funny story about his windshield wipers is so we had that huge storm. Was it last Wednesday? No, it wasn't. He was gone. It was like
2 Wednesdays ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's what it was. 2 Wednesdays ago.
Shit just flew right off. And I didn't believe him. When I got home, I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I looked out, and I was like, "Yeah, no windshield wipers." But they just blew because the wind was so strong. Right off. But yeah, so today was a great day. Goes back to the Springs, and he gets to be with his full-time coach, and life's a lot better for him now.
Recuperate a little bit.
Yeah, his butt's back on the track tomorrow.
Okay, good.
He's been recuperating all week.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited. He's gonna do great things. I can just tell. Like I can tell by his mindset. I can see him run, and it's pretty obvious.
And he's grown up a ton.
I'm excited to see him develop.
And that's the coolest thing as a coach. The X's and O's are great. The marks, the times are great. But watching a young man or a young female, maturation of watching them grow up, is like the coolest part. And like even in my journey, like traveling all over, I had probably a stack of business cards of guys that I sat next to in the airport or on the flight, and like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I was like, "Oh, I run track." Like, "Oh, no, I own, we do knee replacement spur. We sell pharmaceuticals," and they have this division where they hire just former athletes, right? Just because of we know how to manage time, We know how to separate ourselves from social life to getting it done, and all these things that comes with sports, Um, sports is just an amazing thing.
It's amazing. I can't get away from it.
No, I love it.
I couldn't
love it.
do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Did you ever take a year off?
No,
Or did you get right into it?
went right into it, man.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a little kid. You leave me by myself for 5 minutes, I'm probably gonna do something stupid.
Yep.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah, so I just
yeah.
gotta keep going and keep,
Yeah. Gotcha. Keeps you going.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
the biggest thing for me, I think, is it just keeps me going.
keeps you
The
going. Now,
sport,
I
there's
wouldn't make
always
the.
something new to chase. Always.
I've gotten better with my decisions, but
Yeah.
no, I need to keep going.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. So, and I absolutely love it. I mean, it's fun just
Yeah.
being around it. And even like yesterday, there was a couple of track meets, and obviously I couldn't be there because I was spending the day with Caleb and his family. Um, I'm Caleb's youngest son's godfather, so I spent the day with him.
Oh, beautiful.
But I was just like, oh my God, just watching live results. You
Mm.
never get away from it.
Yeah.
So
Hey, we got to take a break real quick.
okay, cool.
We got to take a commercial break. Somebody's got to pay the bills, so we gotta do. We'll be back in about 3 minutes here.
Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up
But why?
because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with zero down. So check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit. See dealer for details.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays. Games of bowling, shoe rental, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
And you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Back to 6 p.m. in Lincoln with Chris Kolarevic. Sponsored by the Teammates Mentoring Program on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We got a little distracted.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
We got a little distracted.
Got me really excited.
My fault. Sometimes I'm bad with last names.
That was awesome. Yeah, but it was bad.
Roller coaster of emotion.
Oh, yeah.
Roller coaster of emotion. My fault. I'll take ownership for that one.
You got gassers.
Hey, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, while you bring up gassers, how do you balance for a football player strength training versus conditioning? How do you incorporate both, and how do you see that progressing for athletes?
Progressing for athletes, it's just based off. Sorry,
because I've been. You can pick it up if you need to.
No, I'm good. I just don't have to turn my phone off.
Because I've been under a lot of different coaches, and I've seen a lot of different philosophies on how to condition versus strength training. Some guys will be very heavy into the heavy conditioning where they're doing it just for mental strength. Mm-hmm. Some guys are don't care about any of that, and they just have you do short bursts. What's your thoughts on that?
I think you have to cover all phases. Speed, power, strength. Conditioning wise, tempo is great for recovery. I'm really big into like conditioning wise, specific conditioning for a position. Mm-hmm. So like with Phelan right now, we run 400 the hard way. So it's 1040s.
400 the hard way.
Yeah, 400 the hard way. Yeah, I got that from
Coach. I like that.
Yeah, Coach Hubert. Back when I was in college at USD. But we changed up instead of just running 1040s on the minute. So what we do is we go minute, we work ourselves back down to the play clock. Once it gets to the play clock, then it's back pedal for 10, pop, sprint for 40, side shuffle, pop, sprint for 40. So we're increasing as.
Hey, let me tell you something. I don't know how much you know about the CFL, but you got to get him in shape for that CFL. Just to go.
Yeah. Because they're
as somebody that played in that league.
Yeah.
You got to be in shape.
They're talking all special teams and safety, all this stuff. So
you got to be in shape.
So I'm a big fan of like specific conditioning for football players. Mm-hmm. Obviously, track's different. Basketball is different. All that stuff. But even with that basketball, you watch LeBron. He's dunking the ball, running court.
He's different.
So it's all different. I think I'm lucky because I'm in the private sector. Right. So I get you one-on-one.
And you can do them a little more individually based rather than a whole team.
I know what works for Phelan. I know what works for Luke Gifford.
Yeah.
Right. I know what works for Nate Gary when Nate was playing, or Sethan or Stan or all those guys. So I know how they respond, how we get the most out of them. General training, I think the blueprint of what we're doing in Nebraska is amazing. You look at Coach Campbell and Coach Des and what they're doing, it makes sense. I mean, I've been blessed and been around, a lot of amazing strength coaches and speed coaches in college, and they check both boxes, man. Like they're
They do.
tops. Coach Campbell's amazing. What I really love about Coach Campbell is, he's he's the head coach, but he delegates things to his staff,
Mhm.
right? So then when he has his team meeting in the morning at 5:45, they go over what the day looks like. Mitch talks, and then Des, and then all these guys, and then if any guys has questions on a lift or tempo or what the goal is for that lift, and they go out before the guys are on the floor, they go over it, right? And I think a lot of strength coaches, it's their way or their highway, and you lose attention to detail when you're not part of the program, right? As much as you're in it,
And I think for those type of coaches, it really works for some of their guys.
yeah,
But then I think they do lose. You lose a significant
you
portion
lose.
of the team.
But this staff is 100% in.
Yeah, I
They all
noticed
have
that.
their words and what they want.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool, man. Man,
It's going to be cool to watch this program develop
yeah,
because we sat through some dark days of this program.
dark days,
and it's going to be cool to watch it develop.
yeah, and it's a tough place to play, man. Like I think about the many guys that I've had come through the program, and it's a great place when everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid in the off season. It's a great place when you're 4-0 and you're playing, FCS schools, and then you lose that first Big Ten game, and it just starts to turn on you.
It's not fun.
It's not fun, and some of the things that I've seen and some of my guys have gone through, these guys listen, and at the end of the day, they care about this place, right? They care about Husker Nation. They care about winning. They care about, Coach Osborne and, everything that's been in place. They care about the Jay Foremans and, the Dominican Sues and all the guys that have come before them, right? And it's a fishbowl. But I like the way that Rule is handling his interviews. He's kind of more transparent than any coach in the country, right?
No question.
Right. And I love the staff because the staff is always teaching what it means to be.
Just some of it's not going into the mic, I don't think.
Oh,
Make sure you
teaching
get
what
into
it
the
means
mic.
to be a Husker.
Yeah. Yeah. for
And
sure.
I think the other staffs that were there, they didn't teach what it meant to be a Husker.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it means a lot. It's why I came here.
Well, that's why I haven't left.
Yeah. That's why I came. I mean, that's why I came here. I was at Northern Iowa, and I went in the portal because I wanted to play at a Big Ten university. I wanted to play a storied program, and Nebraska offered me 2 days into the portal, and I was like, yeah, let's do that. I didn't even wait. I think I could have gotten other ones, but I had some other schools reach out, and I was like, no, I'm going to Nebraska. It's because it's Nebraska.
Yeah.
And you have to know what you're playing for. And for me, I didn't know what to expect because I had never really been big on like social media, and I had never really used that very much in my recruiting. So it caught me off guard to deal with everything in the whirlwind that is Nebraska football. And you have to teach kids how to deal with that, because if you don't, it can kind of swallow you whole the first year you're here.
Yeah. And in all sports. I mean,
All
even
sports.
when I was here for track and field, we had a major standard that we had to go by, and Coach Pepin, is probably one of the greatest men I've ever been around in my life. And one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach I've been around. But what I loved about Coach Pepin was that the constant grind of being Gary Pepin and being Nebraska track and field. But then you get to see Coach Pepin with his, with his grandkids and, with his wife and how he could just separate the two. I learned so much from that man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably a lot of I wouldn't say probably. I say, my style of coaching is probably turned the most from what I learned from Coach Pepin.
Mm.
And then to be blessed that my best friend, Justin St. Clair, we trained together in Boise for the Bronco Track Club and the Olympic Training Center. He's now the head coach here. And then seeing what he's brought to the table, but also honoring Gary, right, and the tradition of Nebraska track and field.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a cool place, man.
It's a very cool place.
And everywhere you go, like, there's somebody that's affiliated with Nebraska. go back to Ohio, or I go to California, or I go to, I don't know, Pittsburgh. There's somebody there that's like affiliated with Nebraska,
everywhere.
everywhere. So it's a really cool place, man. It's, there's no place better.
It's special.
Yeah, it's special.
You see yourself ever leaving? Or are you staying? Are you a lifer?
Man, that's a great question. I see myself being here for a long time, but I also can tell you this, man. Every time I go back home,
Cleveland.
excuse me, I go back home to Cleveland. My niece and nephew. My niece is going to be 3 on the 2nd of April, and my nephew's going to be 8. And I don't have my own kids. I kind of got to do that whole family thing because I was focused on my career and then coaching. And
It's a lot. I struggle with that.
So there's a part of me that wants to be involved in that, but I don't know if Uncle Chris would be good for that. I'm like, come on, man. No,
I think
kidding.
you'd be a good uncle.
Nah, I do a good job. I teach Benjamin how to lose.
You teach him good 40 starts too?
No, not yet.
Not
But I'm
yet.
teaching him how to lose.
How to lose.
Because losing is the biggest. Losing is in my opinion, right, is the biggest and most important factor of life.
Mm.
Right? Because
How you lose.
right.
Can you dive into that? Can you explain how you would teach somebody how to lose? Because I struggle with that. I'll be honest, I'm a sore loser.
Yeah.
Like I get really in my feelings when I lose, and I get really upset because I really don't like to lose. I don't lose. Growing up, I didn't lose very often. I don't like to lose, and I really get in my feelings about it. So
All right. What's a good example? Couple 4th of July's ago. Benjamin's really good at baseball. I mean, the boy can grip and rip. But he can only hit down the middle and inside. Well, Uncle Chris notices this, right? So I start throwing outside pitches, right? Benjamin, strike, starts crying. Gets it back up again. Uncle Chris throws outside, starts crying, throws his bat, wants to quit.
mm-hmm.
My brother's father-in-law, who's a great man, he's unbelievable, comes up to me. He's like, Benjamin can only hit inside and outside pitches. I said, well, guess what, Bill? Tonight, he's going to learn how to hit an outside pitch. Now, there was some other language involved in that, right? So gets up the bat, strikes him out again. Next at bat, he makes contact, hits a bomb. That young man was so excited that he could hit that outside pitch. Now, he doesn't miss the outside pitch, right? So instead of giving him instant gratitude, instant success, my job as his uncle is to break him down and teach him,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And there's other things just like basketball.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. I'm horrible at basketball. So when he's older, he'll definitely, and I'll probably be the wheelchair. He'll beat me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just teach them, I mean, you never want to berate them or make them feel really bad, but you've got to develop them.
Yeah.
And like playing catch the football, just being accountable and throwing the football correctly instead of throwing all over the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just little things like
Little
that.
things.
Yeah.
Little things. How they react to it.
Right. And how they react to it,
Yeah, I played for we gotta go to one more break real quick.
Okay.
Let's pick this up where we left off though.
All right.
Be back in a couple minutes. We'll see you soon.
When opportunity knocks, you don't want to miss the call. Hamilton Business Technologies makes communication easy and efficient using customized technology, all while putting people first. Whether you're working from the office, at home, or on the go, Hamilton Business Technologies equips your business with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Do you need a urologist? At Urology Partners of Nebraska, we understand the urgency of your health. That's why we offer appointments within 48 hours. Although we're new to the community, our team brings years of experience and expertise to provide you with the best care possible. From vasectomies to kidney stones, we've got you covered for all your urology health concerns. Call 402-413-2800 today and experience the difference at Urology Partners of Nebraska.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Koppel also has over 10,500 off list on new select models. So please stop on by and see what confident driving and confident buying is all about. We're right down 144th Street or online at koppelcars.com. All deals with the roof credit, 0% is standalone.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Back to 6 p.m. in Lincoln with Chris Kolarevic. Sponsored by the Teammates Mentoring Program on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we're back. We're gonna pick up right where we left off. We were talking about how to lose. I think you were about to share a story.
Yeah. So just learn how to lose, teaches you so much. Now, obviously, the backside of things is, teaching that young athlete or person. And as a coach, you got to be the rock. You know what I mean? So good example. We were just at Nike Indoor Nationals, and I've got an unbelievably talented young lady. And just the things that were going on, and she wasn't having a good meet. And if you're standing there as a coach and she can look at you and tell, like, things aren't going well, you failed them, right? You got to stand there like a rock and support them. And if she would have jumped 20 feet or when she jumped 16:10, right, I was the same person. Because at the end of the day, that's where it's got to be,
Yeah.
And that's just, like I said, goes back to the accountability, credibility things. And she learned a lot. I learned a lot that meet. Now we're going to come back outdoors and we're going to kill it, and same thing with my other athletes. We're just always growing and learning and developing and being a coach, you just gotta separate all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now we got back to the hotel. I might have beat up my pillow. No, I'm kidding. I didn't do that. But you just sit there and you're like, man, and then you question your decisions
But when
stuff.
you're in that moment.
When you're in that moment, right? And be prepared, right? The biggest thing is you can't go in there without multiple scenarios in your head.
Right.
Right. And I always like
kind of what you're gonna say.
What I'm gonna say. I wouldn't say what I would say, but just like, I always prepare myself for multiple layers. Like if the warm-up's off or if the approaches are off the warm-ups, or what does this look like? Like what's the plan to get this fixed? Once it goes back to you can't have dead air. Like, all right, Chris, we need to do this, this, and this, right? Blah, 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 right? And then the athletes are 100%. But if they look at you and you're like
blank stare, deer in headlights.
Well, that doesn't work. So I always tell everybody, like, you ever seen Step Brothers? Your dinosaur?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's your imagination.
Yeah.
So as a coach, your imagination is projecting what is ahead of you for those 4 quarters. So that first half, second half, halftime. How do you motivate your kids? If you're up by 64 points or you're down by 64 points, how do you motivate them, right?
Very different.
So I play those scenarios in my head, and I'm constantly always thinking, like, all right, well, if we're we got 2 scratches. What am I going to say? Now the moment takes over, but you're way more prepared, right? So once again, like I told you, going into the coaching world, right, and in your world too, what you want to do with social media and all this stuff, and young Jake is like, love what you do, prepare what you do, and prepare for the unexpected.
Prepare for the unexpected.
And always be on time, right? Be accountable, and love your athletes, but make them earn everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would say that would be my motivational speech. I'm tired.
That's great. Hey, this has been a fun one.
Yeah,
I'm glad you came on.
having me on,
This
yeah.
was some good. I gained some good wisdom from this one.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
All right, love
One
you,
of the best
bro.
coaches in the
Oh man,
country, I would say.
I appreciate
Love you,
that.
Slat.
All right,
Thanks for
love you
coming
too,
on, man.
brother.